Take a long look at the skyline behind me. It is magnificent, isn't it? The shard piercing the clouds like a diamond needle. The polished steel of the city reflecting a London that feels permanent, aseptic, and invincible. You feel safe here, standing on this pavement. You believe that modern life is a suit of armor that can never be pierced. But this city is an illusion of stability built upon a layered graveyard. Beneath your 100-pound boots, beneath the fiber optic cables carrying your digital world, lies a wound that never truly healed. There is a layer of black ash, inches thick, that separates your world from the bones of those erased in 4 days of absolute, unmitigated terror. Take just one step forward with me. Don't be afraid of the void. Can you hear the hum of electric cars beginning to distort? It's transforming into a dull, rhythmic thumping. That isn't the wind. It is the breath of a monster beginning to wake. The glass of the shard is cracking, melting, dripping away like acid rain. The LED lights are flickering out, replaced by a darkness so dense it feels solid, broken only by the sickly tremor of animal fat candles that smell of death and resignation. Welcome to the 2nd of September, 1666. Open your eyes and try not to gag. Forget the sugar-coated AI reconstructions you see on your screens. Those colorful fairy tales with clean streets and happy merchants in bright costumes. Those images are lying to you. They are a comforting myth designed to let you sleep at night. The reality we have just stepped into is a prehistoric dumping ground that plays host to 500,000 desperate souls. Look up there, toward the great stone gate of London Bridge. See those dark, shapeless lumps against the lead-gray sky? Come closer. Those are not architectural ornaments. Those are the tarred, severed heads of traitors, impaled on iron pikes as a warning to the world. Their skin has turned to black leather, stretched so tight over the bone that they grin at you with an eternal, eyeless madness. The crows are perched there now, pecking at the remains with a hunger that knows no end. This is the true welcome to London. This is the law of the land. If you came here looking for a romance, go back to your air-conditioned office. But if you want to breathe the soot of the truth, stay with me. Hit the like button now, if you have the stomach for it, because what I'm about to show you cannot be found in any history book. Feel that heavy air hitting your lungs? It enters your nostrils like a red-hot needle. It isn't just filth, it is a chemical assault. It is the sea coal, the low-grade sulfurous fuel burning in every hearth, saturating the air with an acrid, yellowish smoke that clings to your skin like a damp shroud. Mix that with the oily stench of the tallow chandlers, where rancid animal fat boils in massive vats, and the sharp sting of ammonia from the tanneries along the river. This is a city that reeks of urine, grease, and impending doom. The ground beneath us is not earth. Forget the idea of a street. You are walking on a slurry, a thick, black, infectious mire of human excrement, butcher's waste rotting in the sun, and centuries of accumulated filth. Every time you lift your foot, you feel the suction of the muck trying to pull you down. Look at the walls of these houses. They are crusted with a greasy soot that you can scrape off with your fingernails, a skin of rot that covers the entire city. The air itself is a weapon today. Feel this wind? It comes from the east, bone dry, relentless, blowing for weeks without a single drop of rain. London is a tinderbox that has sat under the sun for too long. These houses aren't buildings. They are funeral pyres waiting for an excuse to burn. Look at the way they are built. See how each floor leans aggressively over the one below? This is jettying, a trick born of greed. Taxes are paid on the footprint of the ground, so the builders steal space from the sky, expanding outward as they go up. Look up. The neighbors can almost touch hands across the street, creating a perfect tunnel of seasoned timber, straw, and pitch. That black pitch is meant to keep the rain out, but today, it is just solid fuel. And inside? Beneath every bed, in every lightless cellar, there are stacks of hay for the livestock, and mountains of coal for the winter. We are sleeping on top of bombs. What would you have done? Would you have stayed in these wooden cages to pray? Or would you have run for the river, knowing the Thames is the only line between you and a hideous death? Tell me in the comments, would you have sensed the trap before it closed? It is 2 o'clock in the morning, Sunday, the 2nd of September. The darkness is absolute, broken only by the lanterns of the night watchman coughing in the fog. We are in Pudding Lane, a street so narrow it feels like a throat waiting to be strangled. Let's enter the kitchen of Thomas Farriner, the king's baker. The air here is stagnant, thick with flour dust and the residual heat of the day's work. But the heat is changing. It isn't the smell of fresh bread anymore. It is something sharp, dry, lethal. See that spark? It has just escaped the untended hearth. Watch it crawl across the floorboards. It seems to have a malicious will of its own. It finds a wicker basket, tastes it, and in a heartbeat the timber ceiling erupts. It isn't a fire that grows. It is a roar of red light that consumes the oxygen in the room. As the flames begin to dance from beam to beam like liberated demons, the man arrives who could have stopped the apocalypse. Thomas Bloodworth, the Lord Mayor of London. Imagine him, adjusting his wig, eyes bleary with sleep, radiating the arrogance of a man who thinks his title makes him master of the elements. He looks at the blaze, feels the heat on his face, and utters the words that will damn London to the ash heap. Pish. A woman might piss it out. He refuses to order the pulling down of houses to create a fire break. He is afraid of the cost. He is afraid of the landlords and the lawsuits. While he calculates his dirty pennies, the fire calculates our lives. The east wind grabs the flames and hurls them across the street, turning the wooden tunnels of the city into induction furnaces. London has just signed its own death warrant. By the third day, London is no longer a city of men. It is a living organism made of fire and screams. The sky above us is gone, replaced by a copper-colored shroud of oily smoke that turns the sun into a sick, blood-red disk. There is no longer day or night, only the trembling, violent light of the disaster.
Can you hear that sound?
Listen. Truly listen. It isn't the crackle of a fireplace. It is a viscerally deep roar, a continuous thunder that vibrates in your marrow, as if an army of giants were crushing mountains of glass beneath their feet. It is the sound of thousands of ancient oak beams exploding simultaneously. The pressure of the superheated air is so brutal, it creates fire tornadoes, spinning columns of flame that dance through the alleys, literally sucking the breath out of the lungs of anyone too slow to move. Look at the crowds. It is an ocean of terror pouring toward the Thames. They are dragging heavy chests of useless furniture, singed blankets, children crying with eyes swollen shut from the soot. But the river is not the refuge they prayed for. The wharves are a chaos of despair. The boatmen, acting like vultures, are demanding a year's wages for a 10-minute crossing. Many stand there in the filth, water up to their knees, watching their entire lives turn into a gray powder. The water of the Thames reflects the inferno so perfectly, it looks as if the river itself has turned into a lake of burning oil. What would you have tried to save? Your gold? Or the memories of a lifetime that are about to become black smoke? Now, turn around. Look toward the hill. That is the old St. Paul's Cathedral, a mountain of gray stone that has dominated the skyline for centuries. It is gargantuan. It feels eternal. Everyone believes this is the safest place on earth. Thousands have huddled behind its 6-foot-thick walls. The stationers and booksellers have crammed the crypts with millions of pages, rare manuscripts, Bibles, and maps, convinced that the stone is an unbreakable pact against the fire. But they forgot one thing. They didn't look at the ceiling. 6 acres of roof, covered in solid lead. As the fire surrounds the cathedral like a hellish siege, the temperature rises to levels that the physics of the time cannot explain. The ancient stone begins to crack, then explode like fragmentation grenades. And then, the horror begins. The lead on the roof begins to boil. First it drips, then it becomes a trickle, and finally, a thundering cascade of molten metal. Imagine a rain of liquid silver, heavy, 300 degrees hot, pouring from the gargoyles like the bile of a demon. That lead slides down the walls, soldering the heavy oak doors shut from the outside, sealing everyone within. It invades the streets like incandescent lava. Those inside the cathedral are now in a monumental, airtight crematorium. In the crypts, the books ignite through pure, radiant heat. Millions of words vanish into the dark. The stone of St. Paul's, hit by the thermal shock, simply crumbles. Eyewitnesses will say they saw stones as large as carts flying through the air from the pressure of trapped steam. The cathedral is no longer a house of God. It is a volcano devouring its own children. After 4 days of agony, the wind finally betrays the fire. It shifts north. It loses its teeth. The beast is full. What remains is a lunar landscape, monochrome, gray, and desolate. 13,000 houses have vanished from the face of the earth. 87 churches are nothing but blackened skeletons pointing accusing fingers at a sky that had no mercy. But look there, in the middle of that desert of charcoal, there is a single stone house standing proud and untouched among the smoking ruins. It looks like a miracle, but it isn't. It is science. It is foresight. While everything around it was wood, pitch, and negligence, that house was built with thick brick walls and without those absurd overhanging stories. That house stood its ground because it refused to be bait. King Charles II is walking among these hot ashes now, his luxury boots sinking into the dust of his subjects. He can smell the sweet, horrific scent of burnt flesh still rising from the sealed cellars. It is in this moment of total destruction that he understands a fundamental truth. London can no longer afford to be a medieval trap. He immediately issues the Building Acts. From this moment on, every house must be built of brick or stone. The streets must be widened by force to prevent flames from jumping. It is in these nights of ash that the first fire insurance companies are born, and the fire brigades we know today are established. London died as a filthy, chaotic, infected village, and it was reborn from its own ashes as the first true modern metropolis of the world. That single surviving stone house dictated the rules that now protect the homes of New York, the avenues of Paris, and the skyscrapers of Tokyo. Every time you enter a modern building with a clearly marked fire exit or flame-retardant walls, you are, unwittingly, paying tribute to the forgotten dead of Pudding Lane. Let's go back now. Can you hear the reassuring hum of the underground vibrating beneath your feet? We are back in 2026. The sky is that steely blue you recognize, and the air smells of rain and roasted coffee. But do not be fooled by the cleanliness of the pavement. Beneath this asphalt, beneath the cyclopean foundations of the towers that defy gravity, that layer of black is still there, the dark powder that will never truly go away. 70,000 people lost everything they had in those September nights. Many were never even counted. Their bodies became ash, indistinguishable from the charcoal of their own homes. The next time you walk through the city, perhaps in a hurry between Bank and Cannon Street, stop. Close your eyes for just 1 second. Try to feel the ghost heat still rising from the earth, the heartbeat of a city that is still burning beneath your feet. Remember that the security we live in, this aseptic comfort, is not a natural right. It is a rare privilege, written in the blood and the molten lead of those who came before you. Do you truly believe that if it happened today, we would be more prepared? With our smartphones and our digital protocols? Or have we just become better at ignoring the fact that we live constantly on top of a powder keg? Hit the like button if you think history should be told like this, without filters, without mercy, and with all its original stench. Subscribe so you don't miss the next journey into the dark bowels of the past. I am your guide through this labyrinth of centuries. And remember, The fire never truly sleeps. It never truly goes out. It only waits, with infinite patience, for you to feel just a little too safe. I will see you in the next era, if you have the courage to follow me again.